Okay, Dungeons & Dragons enthusiasts, the eternal D&D question. Playing Dungeons & Dragons solo. Now, certainly one of the things that I really enjoy about D&D as a dungeon master is creating this campaign, creating this adventure, seeing all the different narrative paths that the players may take, and then watching as the adventure unfolds real time, and some of the amazing plot hooks and adventure hooks, things that my players come up with that are just absolutely fantastic. Legends that we will be talking about years into the future. And on the opposite side of the table as a player, this interaction with the party, and in addition to that, the interaction of your character. I'm playing a fighter right now, Valius, and certainly he's down with helping the party. He's going to do what he has to do, but he also has personal glory. He has to undo the stain of dishonor on his family name. So any chance that he can grab that personal glory going up against a dragon or some other significant foe, he's going to bend the rules. He's going to kind of push the party to engage in there. So this social dynamic when you're playing your character, not only with the interaction of the DM, but the other players, is something that's really unique to the D&D experience. How do we capture that solo? Now, certainly throughout my career as both a player and a DM, there have been times where I've been able to play D&D every week. There have been times I've been able to play regularly for 8 months, every Saturday, like 10 in the morning to 10 in the evening. And then there have been times based on responsibilities, family, work, life, school, all that type of stuff that gets in the way of gaming, where I haven't been able to connect or play with a regular tabletop group. Now, that's a discussion, kind of a side discussion podcast for another time, where a tabletop is kind of really cool because you have the direct physical one-on-one interaction. Maybe you've got some miniatures, you've got some snacks, things to play, but the chance to play virtual, either through voice or some sort of virtual tabletop, that is also another narrative. That is something that also exists. And certainly we're going to touch on that because using tech, and it's only getting better and better as we go, opens up D&D options that years ago just would have been unheard of. But it's like 3 in the morning, no one's around to play, you've got some time off before you're calling it for the night, and you just want to play some D&D. How do we do that? This is a technique that I use, and I have used, and I find it works very, very well. Certainly nothing is going to capture the unique social interaction of D&D, but this at least creates a very interesting story, a way for the adventure to unfold without you knowing exactly what, and it's going to allow you to play the character or characters that you want to play. Side option, Mythic Emulator and other DM emulators where you have interject chaos and randomness and rolling D100s to see what happens, spawning random dungeons, things like that. That works. That's an option. I personally don't really like it because what I'm trying to do here is play a role-playing game and visualize the narrative and the adventure and the glory in my mind. I don't want another layer of bookkeeping. And then we get into it's like, well, I might as well go, and this is not a criticism, because some of these emulator systems are very, very sophisticated and very, very slick. They work very well. But I then get into this discussion, this feeling of like, well, I might as well just go play some Baldur's Gate. I'll go digital. Now, the challenge here, of course, D&D, for me, being plugged in real life, 8, 10, 12 hours a day, completely digital, I want some analog. I want to feel the dice. I want to sit there with my D20 and be like, I need to hit. Valius needs to hit. He's got one good strike left with the Warhammer. I need a 17 to take this. We got to do it. Rolling the dice, see it roll out on the table, hearing it, that interaction, or playing and visualizing it in the core of my brain. That's being able to control that pace, being able to read an adventure, a passage, current description, what we see, what we're going to do, and then take a step back and be like, what would Valius be doing in here? What does that look like? I can control, as a solo player, the pace of the game. So that's why I'd rather go analog versus digital. But do I want more bookkeeping? Do I want more on there? Now, this technique I originally use, and I continue to use, not only as a way to play solo D&D, but as a way to test out adventures. If I'm going to be running something that's pre-written, I want to read through it. I want to play through it. I want to get some experience in there so I know where the bottlenecks are, or if there's certain things that I want to tweak or change based on the enjoyment of my players in the gaming group. Kind of like, I guess, a dry run through or a dress rehearsal, kind of take into that next level. Playing it and utilizing it from that perspective is very, very important. So the first thing is to pick your adventure, to pick your module, to pick your book, whatever it's going to be. Don't read it. Don't open it. Don't do anything. Just secure it. Know what level you're going to play. Roll up your character or characters. I generally like to play one character rolling solo, but that's not always practical based on the adventure requirements on there for the party. And now this is the challenging part. Create a personality list or a reaction matrix for your character. Another character I'm playing, Tozen Arias. He's a monk, lawful evil. So there's a lot of personal justification with what he does. And we could say that, well, not that I'm lawful evil. I'm probably closer to chaotic neutral in real life. But in theory, all of our characters that we play and love, they are extensions of our personality. So we play them without thinking about it. You and I interacting, I've got my personality. If you said, Fritz, take a step back and do like Myers-Briggs or give me some sort of personality list, I really have to pause and be like, well, what am I really like? What is that like? So the challenge with your favorite character is to write out what they do, how they would act in a situation. So Valius, right? He's a fallen knight trying to regain his family honor. I would write, trying to regain family honor. So any chance for glory, for combat, he will immediately move to engage the leader or the boss or the most powerful monster in there. He will stand up for what is right, regardless of the cost. You begin to map out how they're going to act in the situation. Not getting totally detailed, but it's going to open up these decision trees. Once you have that, now essentially what you're doing is you're taking your character, you've taken your personality that's expressed through your character and come up with this decision matrix, and you're going to run it through the adventure. You're the DM. You're going to put your character through the adventure now and see how they react. So now we crack open the adventure module. We read that introductory passage. You know, you're walking through the village. This is going on. It's this time of day. And you see your character in there, and then someone comes up and does this. You know, we need help. This is going on. I'm thinking of a specific adventure that I'm looking at right now. I'm not going to give away any spoilers, but, you know, it involves a pretty badass undead vampire dude. You know, he's looking down. The adventurers are there. Now, since you have a decision tree of how your character is going to act, you resolve that. You resolve that matrix. So Valius would express concern, where Tozen, he might not. You know, these villagers get what they deserve. If they're this weak, I mean, Tozen justifies his decisions based on that he's a monk. He's trained his entire life, extreme discipline. If he could do it, there's no excuse that these villagers can't. So in that decision tree, I would have written down, you know, Tozen is not going to help out. He's not. You're on your own if he perceives you as weak. So as the DM, I would say, well, is this situation weak? Yes, Tozen doesn't help out. Valius does help out. Looking at through that aspect on there. So you're running your character through the adventure pre-programmed. And what you're doing is sitting back and just kind of, you're the DM, you're going to make the rolls. In combat, of course, you're going to follow the script and make the best decisions for your character in that moment, whether you're going to heal up or, I won't say run away in the face of Valius. Tozen, he might tactically withdraw. That would be better on there. You'll make those encounter-specific decisions, but now you get to see how does your character unfold in the adventure. The key here, of course, is once you read through that adventure, you put in another decision tree, another character. It's not going to play the same way, but it is going to capture the excitement of self-discovery, the excitement of being a player, kind of wondering what's going on behind the DM screen. This is going to capture that as close as you can. So if you're a player and you're looking on your D&D downtime where you can't get to your regular gaming group, you could always play with Fritz online here, right? But if you can't do that, then this is a great way to get that D&D feeling, that D&D experience. And on the opposite side of the DM screen, this is a really great way as a DM to read through the adventure rather than reading through it and just kind of open book, to read through it and visualize it and sort of participate in it, then later making changes or adjustments, getting it ready to play and run with your party. So solo D&D, yes, possible. It certainly, it's like the holy grail of dungeon crawlers and board games, right? These board games and dungeon crawlers are trying to capture a D&D experience in a board game. You can get close with certain things. It's never going to complete it 100%. Likewise, role-playing games, D&D, capturing it 100%, not always going to happen. Not going to be able to do it. But you can enjoy it for what it is and enjoy it on that level while you're waiting to get your regular tabletop time in.